What's good with y'all niggas, man? 17 true horror stories animated that will change your life forever. Now, I don't know how true these might be, but for the sake of videos, we gonna act like they're all true. And let's get into it.
I had just moved across town into a small home on the outskirts. It was only 20 minutes away from where I lived, but it felt like it was more isolated and away from everything. It had a decent amount of tree covered land, so I couldn't see any other houses or roads or anything, which made it feel really peaceful. On the day I moved in, though, I got a knock at the door around dinner time. It was an older man, like 50-ish, with long gray hair and sunken eyes. He greeted me, but there was clearly something off about him. He tried to make some small talk, but he was very awkward and had a straight, unamused face the whole time. It was a bit odd. After he left, I didn't think too much on it though. I thought it was probably just a nosy neighbor. But on the following day, while I was unpacking, there was another knock at the door. It was him again. The first thing I noticed was that he was still wearing all the same clothes that he had on yesterday, and he had that same straight face. He asked,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm waiting for the scary part to come, bro, because this is just like a ugly ass, scrawny ass nigga, bro. Is he supposed to be like, I don't know, like a warlock or something?
how everything was coming along, but strangely, during our conversation, it felt like he didn't actually have any reason to talk to me. It was like he was dragging on the conversation just because. I had to abruptly end it after a few minutes because he just wouldn't go away. I told him to have a good night and closed the door on him. It was just getting kind of creepy at this point. I mean, I guess it would have been different if he was a really talkative and outgoing person that just wanted to meet his new neighbor, but he wasn't like that at all. He seemed like he didn't even want to talk and was just forcing himself to. I went.
Alright, that's a little creepy then. I ain't gonna hold you. I'd be like, is this something you need, bro? He'd be like, no. I'd be like, alright, cool. You know, it's kind of late. See you tomorrow. I got shit to do. Peace. You feel me? That's all it gotta be, bro. That's all it gotta be.
Went back to unpacking, trying to forget about it, but he knocked on the door again. This wasn't a friendly knock. It was loud and demanding. I looked down the hallway at the door and could see a shadow behind the curtains that covered the window on the door. Just leave. I'm sorry, but I have a lot to do tonight, I said, trying to keep my cool, but definitely letting the frustration show. He didn't move. He waited for another few seconds, then knocked again. At that point, I was extremely irritated and marched over to the door, prepared to yell at him.
Yo,
I swung
you should have marched to the door with the blicky on you, bro. Like, what is wrong with you? You don't even know this nigga, man.
the door open, and the man was standing much closer, only about a foot away from me. His eyes were dead, and his whole face and body was tense. It was like he was contemplating doing something. And that's when I looked down and saw the tip of a knife showing through the sleeve of his jacket. I slammed the door just as he pressed forward. By the time I locked it, he was already banging on the door again.
That's your fault, bro. Who told you to open up the door, man? You should have just gone and grabbed the knife. The nigga could clearly hear you, bro. Like, the motherfucker could clearly hear you. Why'd you have to open up the door?
It was almost even more disturbing because he wasn't saying anything anymore either, like he was possessed by whatever he was trying to do. I called the cops and double-checked every door was locked. The man stayed by the front door for several minutes, then hurried away. Cops didn't make it until well after he had left.
Yeah, man. That's why you need that blicky on you, bro. When seconds count, cops are always minutes away or something like that, bro. Keep that blicky on you, bro.
Them my report of the incident, telling them that he was likely one of my neighbors. They found that nobody matching his description lived anywhere near me. None of the other neighbors had ever seen him either. We still don't know who he was, or if he's still wandering around our neighborhood anymore. Why exactly he came up to my house with a knife in his hand is unknown. Hopefully, he's gone far away from here, though.
Nigga go be in the bushes or something.
Last winter, I moved to a new home in a new town. I'd only visited the town once for a job interview, and once I got it, I pretty much had to move there. It was a really big step up in my career, so I was really eager for everything to go well. Because the town was kind of in the middle of nowhere, though, it made the moving process not so ideal. I had to find a home for rent online and go through the process that way. I know it's not the best way to go about it, but I thought it'd be okay.
That's a terrible way to go about it, I'm not gonna lie.
Since I'd only be renting for a year, and I could always find somewhere else afterward. On December 1st, I packed up everything in my truck and made the drive. I only stopped to fill up the tank along the way, but even then, I didn't make it into town until 9. Like I said, I had been here before when I did the job interview, but I'd never seen the town at night before. It was kind of eerie, as the streetlights were very dim and most of the stores were closed, so all the lights were out. I wasn't used to these smaller towns, so this was very different to me. There wasn't anyone driving around either. It almost felt like I was driving through a ghost town. Another 5 minutes later, I pulled into the neighborhood and up to my new house. It was very small, and was in a row next to other similar houses. I parked on the driveway and got my air mattress out, then headed inside. I had sold basically everything before the move, planning to buy new stuff once I got here, so I knew I'd be stuck with an empty home for a while. Inside, though, the place was about what I expected. It was old and outdated. The wooden floorboards creaked with every step, and the house had a musty smell to it. The layout was simple.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And you already sold all your shit, too. That's wild.
Though. It was one floor with a kitchen and living room, and one long hallway leading to the 2 bedrooms. After quickly looking around, I turned the lights back off and went into the master bedroom, tossing the air mattress down and turning on the pump to get it full. I sat on the floor, tired from the long drive and the stresses of moving, but as I was sitting there, I heard a creak from the other side of the house. It was just one small creak, but it was very distinct, sounding exactly like one of the floorboards. My initial thought was that it might be a raccoon or something that had taken up shelter in the empty home. So I got up and went down the hallway.
Nigga like me, bro. Nigga like me, bro. I ain't... Bro, what? Nigga like me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm calling shit off, bro. I'm like, hey, bro. If you in here, bro, come out right now. And if you come out, you're not gonna die. But if I have to find you, then you're gonna die. I'm not gonna lie. That's just... And I rhyme, nigga. And I fucking rhyme, nigga. But that's just how you gotta be, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta be ruthless like that, bro. Type shit.
Toward the living room. I didn't even bother walking to the front of the room to turn the lights back on. I just glanced around. The room was just as empty as it was before, though. I didn't see any signs of anything. I figured it was nothing. Maybe being tired and stressed made me overthink it. After all, this was a new home, so I wasn't familiar with any of the sounds it may be making. I went back to the bedroom. The mattress was full now, so I tossed a blanket on it and laid down. Tomorrow
Bare air mattress, though? No sheet to cover the mattress, nigga? Just bare mattress? That's wild. That's a wild nigga, bro. That's a wild nigga, bro.
Had a lot to do, so I wanted to get as much sleep as I could get. Despite the not-so-great setup, I passed out pretty soon after laying down. When I woke up, I remember opening my eyes and seeing absolute darkness. It looked like I still had my eyes closed. That's how dark it was. I knew it was sometime in the middle of the night, so I closed my eyes again to try and fall back asleep, when I heard something from just in front of me. It was one of the floorboards creaking. My eyes shot open again, and I quickly sat up. I stared ahead at where I heard the sound, but still,
Why would you sit up, bro? You gotta act like you still sleeping, bro. You gotta act like you still sleeping, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
couldn't make anything out. I sat there motionless. It was so quiet, I could hear my heart beating as I felt a disturbing sense around me. Then there was another creak. It was further to the left of where the last one was. In my head, I started to panic. Part of me didn't even think this was real, like maybe I was still half asleep or something. Before I could shake the feeling, there were 4 consecutive creaks, each sounding further toward the back of the room. Then there was a moment where I felt like I could see the slightest shape of something in the dark before the bedroom door swung open. The moonlight shining into the hallway immediately illuminated a man as he moved from my bedroom and into the hallway. I heard him sprinting to the other side of the house as I got up and rushed to turn on the lights. By then, the front door was wide open. From the glimpse of him that I got, he looked around 40 years old, with worn clothes and boots. That was about all I could see. I got my phone.
That was a fucking meth head, nigga. That nigga got robbed by a meth head, man.
Phone and keys, then got in my truck and drove away as I called the local police station. From everything I told them, they seemed to think that it was someone living in the house while it was unoccupied, but there's really no way to know for sure what was going on. If that was someone living in the home, it doesn't really explain what they were doing in my room, creeping around while I was asleep. Whatever the case, thankfully the owner let me break the lease and move to a different home. Had I not woken up that night, I don't know what would have happened.
Nigga would have touched your top lip, nigga. Hey, that's the video though, nigga. That was True Horror Stories animated that will change your life forever. My life don't really feel changed. You feel me? I feel like I would have made better choices in those situations. But hey though, y'all niggas be easy and we gonna catch you next time.